BTS. Three simple letters that have rewritten the rules of global pop culture. They're not just performers, they're architects of a new era in music, language, and identity. While the world sees the lights, the awards, and the roaring crowds, what most people miss is the quiet discipline, the invisible teamwork, and the deeply human moments that hold it all together. Behind the sold-out stadiums and billion-stream hits lies a structure built from years of shared sacrifice, unspoken understanding, and an almost obsessive dedication to growth. BTS doesn't just create songs. They cultivate a system of trust and balance that allows 7 very different people to move as one. It's this hidden foundation, small routines, unpublicized habits, and unwritten team rules that explains their rare longevity in an industry that often chews up talent and spits it out fast. This isn't about fame or trophies. It's about how 7 individuals choose to live and work as if the world isn't watching. RM's endless writing, Jin's quiet acts of responsibility, Suga's strict creative rhythm, J-Hope's relentless preparation, Jimin's nightly reflection, V's artistic curiosity, and Jungkook's personal challenges, each thread forming a web of integrity and evolution. Together, they reveal not perfection, but persistence. What we're about to explore isn't the BTS on stage, it's the one off camera, behind studio doors and sleepless nights. The real BTS, disciplined, deliberate, and disarmingly genuine. 7 humans who built a phenomenon not by chasing fame, but by mastering themselves. Number 7. Jungkook has a personal rule to learn a new skill every year. While most artists rely on routine, Jungkook thrives on challenge. From his earliest days as a trainee, he decided that comfort was the enemy of growth. Every year, he pushes himself to master something new, sometimes a creative pursuit like video editing or photography, sometimes a physical discipline like boxing or dance technique. This isn't just a hobby cycle, it's a philosophy that keeps him evolving both as an artist and as a person. His members often talk about how Jungkook becomes completely absorbed in whatever he's learning. He doesn't just try it, he devours it. When he got into boxing, he trained like a professional athlete, perfecting his form and rhythm until it looked cinematic. When he explored video production, he learned editing software from scratch and even directed his own footage for BTS projects. He once said that learning new things helps him understand the world and himself better, and that philosophy explains his constant reinvention. Whether it's music production, painting, or stage performance, Jungkook treats every skill like a mirror, each one showing him a new version of himself. This relentless curiosity is what makes him unpredictable and magnetic. He's not chasing perfection, he's chasing evolution. And that's why Jungkook isn't just BTS's youngest member, he's their living proof that self-growth is the most powerful art form of all. Number 6. V has a quiet habit of secretly taking candid photos of his members and surroundings during their everyday lives, not for publicity, but for inspiration. Known by his artistic alias, Bangtan, he uses photography as a private form of expression and therapy, a way to capture emotions too fragile to put into words. While most fans know him for his deep baritone voice and magnetic stage presence, few realize how much of his artistry begins behind a camera lens. During long tours or practice sessions, V often slips into the background, quietly observing light, color, and movement, waiting for a moment that feels alive. He captures his members when they're laughing, resting, or completely unaware, because for him, authenticity is more beautiful than perfection. His photography isn't about showing off skill, it's about preserving honesty. He once said he likes taking photos of things people don't usually notice, a philosophy that reveals his emotional depth. V sees the world through a poetic lens, turning the ordinary into art. His photos are often warm, melancholy, and cinematic, reflecting a timeless longing that mirrors his own personality. That sensitivity extends to his music. His solo songs carry the same tone of stillness and intimacy. Behind the confident, unpredictable performer on stage is a contemplative observer who finds meaning in silence. Through his camera, V creates a private archive of moments that remind him who he is beyond fame. Those close to him often describe him as someone who feels deeply but speaks little. When the group is laughing or exhausted, he'll quietly lift his camera, freezing emotion before it fades. His photos aren't staged, they breathe. They're filled with texture and imperfection, evidence of a soul that values truth over polish. For Taehyung, photography bridges the gap between two worlds, the global icon and the introspective artist. It gives him control in a life where everything else is public. Each image is a small act of grounding, a way to say, "This is real, this is mine." Even when he doesn't share his pictures, the act itself fuels his creativity. His eye for aesthetics influences BTS's visual direction. Their muted tones, their emotional storytelling, their cinematic concepts often carry traces of his vision. And that's what makes V so distinct within BTS. He's not only seen, he sees. He transforms observation into art, silence into meaning. His photography is his refuge, his mirror, and his legacy, a reminder that even in the chaos of global fame, he never stops finding beauty in the quiet corners of life. Number 5. Jimin keeps a nightly habit of self-reflection that helps him balance his emotions and maintain mental clarity in the chaos of fame. Among BTS members, Jimin is known not just for his stunning stage presence, but for his deep emotional awareness and introspection. Fact, he has admitted in interviews that he often spends time before bed thinking through his day, what went well, what didn't, and how he can improve tomorrow. It's a quiet ritual, one that began as a way to manage anxiety during BTS's early years when the group faced harsh criticism and constant pressure to prove themselves. For Jimin, reflection isn't self-pity, it's discipline. It's his way of staying grounded, of transforming self-doubt into strength. He once said he writes down his thoughts or simply replays conversations in his mind to better understand his own reactions. This mental practice shaped his maturity and emotional intelligence, traits that fans and members often notice when he comforts others or mediates conflicts. Behind his charming smile and gentle demeanor lies a man who constantly studies his emotions like a craftsman fine-tuning an instrument. His approach to self-growth is both tender and relentless. Jimin doesn't hide from his insecurities. He confronts them head-on. During interviews, he has admitted to moments of self-criticism so intense that he once questioned if he deserved success at all. But instead of letting those thoughts consume him, he uses them as fuel to become better, both as a performer and as a person. Every dance, every vocal delivery, every fan interaction carries the weight of that internal dialogue. His members have often said that Jimin has the biggest heart in the group. He feels everything, and sometimes too much. That emotional depth, however, is also what gives his art such impact. When he performs, it feels like he's channeling every reflection, every sleepless night, every word he never said out loud. His movements tell stories of pain, hope, and self-forgiveness. Watching him perform is like watching someone heal in real time. What makes Jimin special isn't just talent, it's self-awareness. He understands that the mind can be both an ally and an enemy, and he works tirelessly to make peace with it. That's why his nightly reflections matter so much. They're not just a habit, they're an act of survival. When fame becomes too loud, when expectations feel too heavy, Jimin finds silence in thought. He sorts through his fears like notes in a melody until they make sense again. And that's how he remains stable, even in a career that constantly tries to unbalance him. His reflective nature also makes him one of the most empathetic people in BTS. When other members struggle, Jimin notices first. He offers comfort not through grand gestures, but through presence, a hand on the shoulder, a quiet word, a smile that says, "I understand." That emotional attunement comes from years of turning inward, learning how to read himself so he can better read others. It's the reason he connects so deeply with fans too. When he sings about loneliness or acceptance, it doesn't sound abstract, it sounds lived. Because it is. His reflections translate into lyrics, gestures, and performances that feel painfully real. Offstage, Jimin's self-discipline continues by practicing mindfulness through small routines, stretching, journaling, or simply sitting in silence before bed. It's his personal balance between chaos and calm, between the idol the world sees and the person he's still learning to be. He has said that he doesn't want to lose himself in fame, that he wants to stay kind and honest no matter how far we go. That statement alone sums up his inner philosophy. Growth means staying true, even when the world keeps changing around you. Over the years, this nightly ritual of reflection has quietly shaped Jimin into BTS's emotional anchor. He embodies vulnerability without weakness, introspection without self-absorption. His art becomes an extension of his self-awareness, a dance between who he was, who he is, and who he hopes to become. And in a world where fame often replaces authenticity, Jimin remains a rare example of how strength can be soft, how progress can be gentle, and how true artistry begins not on stage, but in the quiet moments when the lights go out and it's just you, your thoughts, and the will to become better tomorrow. Number 4. J-Hope is the first to arrive and the last to leave the practice room, a perfectionist whose discipline sets the standard for everyone in BTS. Fact, members have repeatedly said that J-Hope is the one who starts rehearsing before anyone else and keeps going long after others have left, making him the group's unofficial dance captain and energy core. His stage name, J-Hope, isn't just a symbol of optimism, it's a declaration of responsibility. He once said, "If I don't work hard, how can I tell others to keep going?" That sentence captures everything about his character. Behind the smiles, the laughter, and the playful personality lies a relentless worker who believes consistency is the foundation of greatness. During BTS's trainee EPs, when energy ran low and morale dropped, J-Hope was the one who pushed everyone to keep moving. He treated every rehearsal like a live concert, every mistake like a challenge to overcome. His passion isn't loud, it's disciplined. It's the kind of commitment that doesn't fade with success. Even after years of global fame, he still runs through routines again and again, perfecting transitions that most fans would never even notice. For him, the stage is sacred and precision is love. J-Hope's leadership doesn't come from orders, but from example. When BTS was still struggling to find their rhythm as rookies, he became the glue that held their performances together. His background in street dance gave him a technical edge, but it was his attitude that transformed him into a true leader. He believes that energy is contagious, and he uses his own as fuel for others. Even when he's exhausted, he keeps smiling, not out of obligation, but because he knows morale drives performance. The members often say that when J-Hope walks into a room, the atmosphere shifts. He radiates control, warmth, and determination all at once. That mix of cheerfulness and rigor defines him. He's the heart that pumps discipline through BTS's veins. What most people don't see, though, is the weight behind that cheerfulness. Being the motivator means rarely showing weakness. J-Hope carries the emotional burden of keeping spirits high even when his own energy runs low. Yet he manages to channel that pressure into productivity. When others rest, he plans. When others doubt, he practices. It's not obsession, it's purpose. He approaches rehearsal like meditation, where repetition becomes focus and focus becomes freedom. His artistry thrives on control. Every beat, every move, every breath on stage is calculated to the millisecond. And yet within that precision lies soul. J-Hope doesn't dance to impress, he dances to communicate. He once explained that choreography isn't about showing skill, but about storytelling through movement. That's why his performances feel alive. They speak even when he's silent. His work ethic has influenced the entire group's culture. Because of J-Hope, punctuality and preparation became part of BTS's DNA. He's the one who checks formations, adjusts timing, and gives notes after performances, not as criticism, but as guidance. The members trust him completely because they know how much he gives. His nickname, Hope, may sound simple, but it carries layers of meaning. Hope is optimism, but it's also endurance, the belief that tomorrow can be better if you keep trying today. And that's exactly how J-Hope lives. Even in solitude, he practices with the same intensity he brings to stadiums. He films his rehearsals, studies them, and refines tiny details until they become instinct. It's this invisible grind that turns good performers into legends. His solo work reflects that same energy, meticulous yet explosive. Every sound, visual, and move in his projects mirrors his inner rhythm, controlled chaos, bright but sharp, joyful but layered with meaning. Offstage, he's the grounding force of the group, balancing seriousness with humor. He laughs easily, comforts others naturally, but never loses sight of the goal. His positivity isn't naive, it's earned. It's the kind that comes from falling countless times and getting up anyway. And that's why J-Hope isn't just BTS's sunshine, he's their structure, their standard, and often their silent teacher. He proves that hope isn't something you find, it's something you build, one disciplined step at a time, until it becomes who you are.
Number 3. Suga lives by a rhythm of precision and purpose, turning his studio Genius Lab into both a creative sanctuary and a workplace governed by discipline. Fact: unlike many artists who wait for inspiration, Suga treats music production like a full-time job, arriving at his studio at set hours, working methodically, and treating creativity as labor rather than luck. He said more than once that he clocks in like an office worker, building structure around chaos because he believes consistency produces genius. His nickname Genius Yoongi might sound like fan exaggeration, but within the industry, it's a mark of respect for his methodical process and technical mastery. While the world sees Suga as calm and mysterious, the truth is that his artistry is a product of relentless repetition and intellectual rigor. He dissects sound the way a scientist dissects data, experimenting, analyzing and refining until every note fits perfectly. Inside Genius Lab, time loses meaning. Days blur into nights as he builds songs layer by layer, mixing emotion with mathematics. To him, music isn't magic. It's engineering, empathy, and honesty fused together. Suga's relationship with his craft is deeply personal. He once described songwriting as exercising emotions, a way to process the weight he carries in silence. Coming from Daegu, where dreams like his weren't exactly encouraged, he learned early that passion means nothing without persistence. That's why his work ethic borders on ritual. He starts his day with coffee, checks notes from the previous session, tweaks melodies, edits lyrics, and keeps detailed logs of progress. It's not unusual for him to scrap entire projects if they don't feel sincere. In his mind, perfection isn't the goal. Truth is. This pursuit of authenticity has made his music timeless. Whether producing for BTS, his solo projects under August D, or other artists, Suga approaches each piece with the same seriousness, as if every beat has moral weight. He builds songs from emotion outward, turning pain, exhaustion, and reflection into sonic form. That's why his music hits differently. It doesn't just sound good, it feels earned. But discipline for Suga isn't only about art, it's about survival. Fame and pressure can distort identity, and his strict schedule keeps him anchored. He's candid about his struggles with mental health, speaking openly about depression and burnout, but he never romanticizes them. Instead, he channels that energy into creation. Genius Lab becomes his therapy room, a place where vulnerability turns productive. Every track he crafts is a conversation with himself, a record of who he was at that moment, flaws and all. And when he steps away from the studio, he carries that same professionalism into group life. He's pragmatic, efficient, and often the quiet problem solver of BTS. While others express emotions outwardly, Suga internalizes, processes, and then translates those feelings into sound. His members often describe him as someone who thinks like a producer even in daily life. He notices patterns, predicts outcomes, and simplifies chaos. That's why he's so crucial behind the scenes. In meetings, he doesn't talk much, but when he does, his words cut through noise. His insights shape the group's sound, tone, and creative direction more than most realize. For Suga, leadership doesn't mean commanding attention. It means consistency, reliability, and trust. He builds that trust not with words, but with results. When deadlines loom or stress runs high, he's the steady pulse reminding everyone that art is built one beat at a time. Despite his reserved personality, Suga's influence is magnetic. Artists inside and outside of HYBE seek his advice, knowing he'll give honest feedback without sugarcoating. His perfectionism might seem intimidating, but at its core is humility, the awareness that mastery is endless. That's why he keeps learning new instruments, studying new production trends, and mentoring younger artists. He doesn't chase fame, he refines craft. And through that, he's become one of the most respected producer-lyricists of his generation. What makes Suga fascinating is the duality between control and vulnerability. He's structured yet emotional, detached yet deeply empathetic. His music balances technical precision with raw humanity. He can spend hours adjusting a single hi-hat sound, not for applause, but because he believes listeners deserve honesty down to the smallest detail. That kind of integrity is rare. It's why Genius Lab feels sacred, a place where discipline meets emotion, where perfection meets pain. For Suga, success isn't measured by charts, but by peace of mind, the quiet satisfaction of knowing he gave everything to his work. In a world obsessed with speed and visibility, he reminds us that true genius isn't about shining the brightest. It's about burning steadily, deliberately, and authentically, even when no one's watching.
Number 2. Jin is the quiet caretaker of BTS, the member who naturally took on the role of keeping everyone grounded through acts of care that often go unnoticed. Fact? During BTS's early years living in their small dorm, Jin was the one who cooked for the team, cleaned their shared space, and made sure his younger members ate before collapsing into sleep. It wasn't something assigned or expected, it was instinct. In an environment where exhaustion was constant and uncertainty was heavy, Jin's small acts of responsibility became their invisible foundation. His nickname, Worldwide Handsome, might be what the world laughs about, but inside the group, he's known more as the stabilizer, the person who quietly makes sure things don't fall apart. Even now, with BTS at the top of global fame, that habit of looking after others hasn't changed. When cameras are off, Jin is still the one reminding members to eat, handing out vitamins, joking to ease tension, and turning chaos into laughter. His humor is armor, but his care is structure. Behind his bright personality lies a rare kind of maturity. Jin graduated from Jungkook University with a degree in acting before joining Big Hit, and that background taught him the art of awareness, of reading moods, timing, and energy. In the group, that translates into emotional intelligence. He notices when someone is withdrawn, when the room feels heavy, when words are left unsaid. Instead of confronting directly, he disarms with humor, diffusing tension before it explodes. The members often describe him as the eldest but never imposing, someone who leads with warmth rather than authority. That's a subtle but powerful kind of leadership, one that builds trust, not obedience. His caretaker nature extends beyond BTS. Fans often recall moments when Jin went out of his way to interact kindly with staff, dancers, and security, remembering names and offering food or compliments. It's not performative, it's genuine. He believes respect is the baseline of humanity, regardless of status. That belief shapes how BTS interacts with the world. Many of their team-oriented habits, like cleaning up after themselves on set or greeting staff politely, were normalized because Jin did them first. He leads by quiet consistency, not speeches. But care can be heavy, especially when you're the emotional anchor. Jin has admitted that being the oldest sometimes means hiding his worries so the younger members don't feel burdened. That's why his jokes matter. They're not just funny, they're shields. Laughter becomes his way of protecting the group from stress, and it works because it's real. His humor isn't forced optimism, it's a kind of courage, a way to stay human in a world that demands perfection. Underneath the lightheartedness, Jin is fiercely disciplined. His approach to responsibility mirrors his approach to life, straightforward, steady, and unfazed by chaos. When it comes to performance, that same reliability shines through. Jin might not be the loudest dancer or the flashiest vocalist, but he's consistent. Always rehearsed, always on cue, always giving his best even when exhausted. His growth as a singer over the years is a testament to quiet persistence. He trained tirelessly to strengthen his voice, hitting emotional peaks in songs like Epiphany, where his vulnerability became strength. That solo performance wasn't just about music, it was a declaration of self-worth, the kind that only comes from years of introspection and endurance. What makes Jin remarkable is his ability to balance simplicity with depth. He doesn't dramatize his efforts or seek validation, he just does. Cooking, cleaning, joking, comforting, each act may seem small, but together they form the unseen scaffolding that holds BTS upright. When schedules overwhelm the team, he brings perspective. When tension rises, he reminds them to breathe. His presence says, "We're still human, no matter how big this gets." And in an industry built on image, that message is revolutionary. As the eldest, Jin has watched the others grow from boys into men, yet he never distances himself with seniority. Instead, he adapts, growing alongside them. His leadership is quiet, but enduring, like the background rhythm that keeps the melody in time. The world may celebrate Jin for his looks or his jokes, but those who know him understand that his real beauty lies in responsibility, the way he turns care into strength, humor into protection, and everyday moments into the glue that keeps BTS together. Number 1. RM, the leader, the thinker, and the philosopher of BTS, stands at the intersection of intellect and instinct, carrying the invisible weight of guiding 7 lives through chaos while finding his own identity in the noise. Fact: RM, born Kim Namjoon, is not just the leader because he's articulate or fluent in English. He became the leader because he has the rare ability to think, feel, and decide for a group of people without losing his individuality. From their earliest days in cramped dorms to sold-out stadiums across continents, RM has been the compass, always reading the room, interpreting emotions, translating confusion into direction. His leadership isn't loud or authoritarian, it's analytical and empathetic. He listens more than he speaks, then speaks with precision when it counts. The members trust him not because of hierarchy, but because of history. Years of late-night talks, difficult decisions, and shared mistakes. What sets RM apart is his awareness. He sees BTS not just as a band, but as a living organism of 7 intertwined stories. He studies its pulse, understands its rhythm, and ensures it keeps beating. He said in interviews that being the leader often feels like walking through fog with a torch that sometimes flickers, but he keeps walking anyway. That quiet resilience defines him. Beneath his calm tone lies a storm of thoughts. RM reads philosophy, art theory, and history, pulling wisdom from everywhere to understand himself and the world. This curiosity shapes not only his music, but his worldview. He believes art and reflection are inseparable, and through BTS's music, he's built bridges between intellectualism and emotion, poetry and pop culture. His lyrics aren't just words, they're maps of self-awareness, guides for anyone lost in modern confusion. Songs like Intro Persona or Mono reveal his dual nature, confident on stage, contemplative in solitude. He often walks alone in museums or along the Han River, notebook in hand, thinking, processing, questioning. Fans might see those moments as poetic, but for RM, they're survival. Ways to stay connected to reality amid the surreal chaos of fame. He once said, "If I stop reflecting, I stop being me." And that's not an exaggeration. His mind is both his gift and his burden. Leading BTS means making decisions that affect not just himself, but millions. Every word, every silence carries weight. He's been criticized, praised, misunderstood, and idolized, all while trying to remain human. That's why his honesty is so disarming. When he admits uncertainty, people listen because he's never pretending to have all the answers. He leads with vulnerability, proving that strength and doubt can coexist. Within BTS, he's the mediator, the translator, the bridge. When tensions arise, RM interprets not just language, but intention. He knows how to calm Yoongi's precision, balance J-Hope's energy, ground Jungkook's ambition, protect Taeyoung's sensitivity, respect Jin's steadiness, and understand Jimin's empathy. Each member leans on him differently, and somehow he carries all of them without breaking. But the cost of such balance is exhaustion, the kind that can't be cured by sleep. He has confessed that leadership can be lonely because the responsibility never ends. Even during breaks, his mind doesn't rest. He's always planning, questioning, preparing. Yet he never complains. Instead, he channels that pressure into creation. His solo work is a reflection of the man behind the leader, introspective, raw, and beautifully conflicted. In Indigo, he invites listeners into his world not as fans, but as witnesses of a person navigating adulthood with both pride and confusion. It's honest art, stripped of performance. And that honesty extends beyond music. RM has spoken at the United Nations, museums, and art conferences, not as a celebrity, but as a cultural thinker. His speeches are grounded, never performative. He uses his platform to advocate for self-acceptance, empathy, and awareness. "Speak yourself," he told the world, and he meant it. Those two words capture the essence of his leadership, empowering others to find their voice even when he doubts his own. What's fascinating about RM is how he reconciles contradictions. He's rational, yet emotional, humble yet ambitious, structured yet spontaneous. He reads Nietzsche and watches cartoons, he collects art and writes rap verses about loneliness. He's not trying to be profound, he just refuses to live shallowly. And in that honesty, people see themselves. That's why RM isn't just a leader of a group, he's a mirror for an entire generation searching for meaning in noise. He doesn't lead from above, he leads from within. He's the kind of leader who believes guidance isn't about control, but about collective growth. Under his leadership, BTS evolved from a K-pop act into a global phenomenon with intellectual depth. He shaped their identity not through strategy, but through sincerity, turning personal stories into universal anthems. Every speech, lyric, and moment he shares feels intentional, as if crafted to remind people that thinking and feeling are not opposites, but allies. Yet even with all his achievements, RM remains deeply aware of his limitations. He often says he's still figuring life out, still trying to be a better person. That humility keeps him real in an industry built on illusion. He doesn't want to be worshipped, he wants to be understood. That's why fans feel connected to him, not because he's perfect, but because he's perfectly human. His leadership is proof that intelligence doesn't distance people. Empathy brings them closer. And as BTS continues to redefine global culture, RM remains the quiet engine driving them forward, not with commands, but with conviction. In a world obsessed with noise, he values silence. In a field obsessed with fame, he seeks purpose. And in an age where leadership often means dominance, RM shows that true leadership is listening. He once said, "I'm not leading them, we're walking together." That line captures everything. He's the thinker who doubts, the artist who listens, the friend who steadies, the philosopher who wraps his way through uncertainty. Kim Namjoon doesn't just lead BTS, he embodies what leadership in the modern world should be: intelligent, empathetic, self-aware, and endlessly evolving. And as this journey continues, one truth remains unshakable. Without RM's balance of mind and heart, BTS wouldn't just sound different, they'd be different. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing a leader can do is not stand in front, but stand beside. And RM has been doing exactly that since day one, quietly shaping history through thought, rhythm, and the relentless pursuit of meaning.